Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Think Future podcast. I'm your host, Chris Kalabukas, and once again, we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. So today is March 22nd, 2020, and we are having a special work from home gear edition of the Think Future podcast. Normally, I talk about innovation startups in the future, but because of the coronavirus and the shelter at home order that a lot of people today are a part of, I thought I'd take a little time to talk about my setup here and how it's working. I've been working from home for about 5 years, and I think I've got a pretty good setup here. And there's many of you out there who typically go into an office and don't really know how to set up your office properly for working from home. So this is one way. This is the way I've done it, and I've maybe been a little excessive in a few things here and there, but I think on the whole it serves me well. It serves me well. So let's get down right down to it. So first of all, I hope a lot of us, or a lot of individuals and companies out there, take the lessons that we've learned from this to heart and understand that, sometimes in-person interaction isn't always the best. I mean, for some reason, sometimes we feel that we think in-person interaction is really awesome. And maybe that's because it has something to do with our original human nature. Maybe because we've been interacting face-to-face for so long, we think that is the best way to interact. Now think about this. Maybe it isn't. Maybe there are ways of interacting with individuals remotely that are actually better than in person. There's a startup idea for you right there. And I was talking about this with one of my colleagues at the IFTF, the Institute for the Future, and they were saying that we were talking about the what do you call those beam technology uh, robots where you could beam yourself into another location. It has a little iPad at the top that they had it on Modern Family at one point, and we were talking about how this is okay, but the problem is we're trying to replicate the experience of in person. What if you use technology to go beyond the experience of in person? What if you actually had a better experience not being in person? What if you could improve the experience by not being in person? So that's some startup ideas for you. So let's get on with the setup. One, first things first, get a faster internet connection. Get the fastest internet connection that you have. Now, a lot of times all this requires is a phone call or a chat message with your current internet provider, because more than likely the software that you have or the hardware that you have can be tweaked up to a faster speed simply by calling them up or connecting with them and say, hey, listen, bump me up to a higher tier. They might not need to send anybody out. The technology, everything's already there. So all you really need to do is call them and pay for that higher layer. And I have to say to you, it is totally worth it. I have Xfinity here, AT&T, whoever you have, Google Fiber, whatever it is, pay for that higher layer. You will thank yourself later. Secondly, UPSs. I have a UPS here on my system, and I also have a UPS on my network connection. So in case the power does go out, then I can still continue to surf through my wireless connection. Sure, it only lasts for about 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever, but for the small brownouts you might get here and there, it's invaluable. You can continue being on your call, and it's like nothing will have happened. All the lights would have gone out around me, but I'd still be able to be on the call. So speaking of lights, don't forget to have enough light in your room to light yourself up, because in many cases, your room might be too dark. And as you can see, I have lots of light in this room. That's because there's a window right here. So there's lots of light streaming in, but I also have lamps in various locations here. I have some lamps behind me. I have lamps in front of me that can sort of lighten myself so that there's plenty of light. And the more light there is, this is a trick that you might not know about with video cameras, is that the more light there is, the higher the resolution. If the light is too low, then it will step down the resolution. Right now, this is supposed to be on HD, and if I don't have enough light, it'll step down the resolution. Next. Now, these are not in any particular order, so I'm just going to throw them out there, and you'll have to find your own way. So this is a standing desk. So this is one of those standing desks. So right here is a desk that it goes up and down. So it's motorized, goes up and down. It cost me about $800 when it first came out, but you can get them a lot cheaper now. IKEA even has them for like 120 or whatever. Invaluable, invaluable. So if you're standing at your desk a lot of times, because there's times during the day when I have meetings back to back to back to back to back, and you get tired. You get tired of standing, you get tired of sitting. So I alternate between sitting and standing. And what's really helpful with one of those things is a timer. So I have one of these cube timers. And the way the cube timer works is that you tip it over. So for example, if I wanted to time for 10 minutes, that's a 10-minute timer. If I wanted to time for 30 minutes, it's a 30-minute timer. So what I do is I tip this on the 30 minutes. It starts flashing like that. And in 30 minutes, it's going to beep. And that is my cue to sit down. So every 30 minutes I sit down. Every 30 minutes I set up, put it on mute, and raise and lower the standing desk. Incredibly important. Incredibly important. Next, headphones. Super important to get awesomely good headphones. Now, the trick is that a lot of headphones are great at listening. So they've got excellent speakers, but the microphone is terrible. So what I did is I went out and got gaming headsets, because if you think about it, gamers need to be able to talk to each other, especially in those first-person shooters where you're talking to your team and the team has to be able to hear each other, right? So if the team has to be able to hear each other, then the microphone has got to be good. So I suggest you go out and get a really good gaming headset. This one is called a Corsair Void Pro or something like that. I think it was about $70. And a lot of times, I mean, it sounds great and the microphone is really good too, at least from my perspective, especially if you do podcasts and you're going to be on the phone, you're going to be Zooming, you're going to be doing a lot of communications. So get good equipment. What's next? Backups, backups, backups. Like I was saying about UPS, back up your headphones, because sometimes you're going to have issues with your headphones. So always have a backup of going to your phone. I have my AirPods, I have my phone right here, which I go to in case there's a problem. So there might be a problem with your streaming connection. There might be a problem with your internet. There might be a problem with your camera. All of these things could happen. So what you have to do is make sure you have your phone ready to go on backup in case you need it. And this is also invaluable if you do lose your internet connection. Let's say your power is fine, but Xfinity is down. Hotspot. Always have a hotspot. Pay extra for the hotspot. Next, monitor. I have a widescreen 33, 34 inch, I think it's an LG monitor, curved. So when I was at one of my clients and I saw that they had bought these monitors for all of their employees, and I thought, wow, this is awesome. If I'm going to be spending that much time in front of a monitor, I better get a big monitor. I have to see if I can show you a picture of that. I took a picture of it so I didn't have to discombobulate my camera. But this is a shot. Oh, I don't know if you can see it through the angles. This is a shot of my monitor and my computer below it, and two Agretsuko dolls, and my mouse pad, which is still a Yahoo mouse pad. And there's my monitor. And as you can see at the very top, there is my camera, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. So splurge and get a really good HD camera. This one is the Logitech. See that? That's the Logitech. I forget what number it is, but it's a really good HD camera, and that's what I have right now as my HD camera. So I highly suggest that, and remember, enough light. Light is super important. What else do I have here? Okay, I got, and here's where I went a little bit overboard. So love coffee. I love coffee. Coffee is awesome. So I went out and bought the Ember USB connected, app connected, heating coffee mug. That's right, folks. Keeps your coffee hot for about 90 minutes. Next, stay hydrated. What you see here is called the ulla. This is my excessiveness here. It basically lights up every 30 minutes and says, drink some water, man. Drink some water. Got to stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. Speaking of being hydrated, I also have a mini fridge right here full of water and stocked with black cherry and liqueur seltzer. Sugar-free, of course. Let's see what else. Got a decent chair, but I don't use it that often. It's just a regular chair. Let's see. And what else? Final thing, last thing, last but not least, now my monitor just went dark. Okay, here we go. Last but not least, make sure you have a reasonable background. A bookshelf always helps. There's some people who have like it looks like they're sitting in like a bathroom or something. And it was on a conference call the other day, and a guy looked like he was sitting in a closet. There was like shoes piled up behind him and jackets, and it was just a total mess. So spend some time making sure that your background is half decent, because you're going to be spending a lot of time on these events talking to other people, and you don't want anything embarrassing back there. And please, 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 if you got to do something that requires noise, mute yourself. I mean, every one of these headphones has got a mute button. See, it glowed red when it was muted. You've got a mute on your Zoom. You've got a mute on your camera. You've got a mute. Like, there's so many mutes. Mute yourself if you're doing something that makes noise, or if you hear a noise, if your kids are running around, if they're screaming, whatever, and you're not actually talking, mute yourself as much as humanly possible. And like I said, be ready. If something goes wrong, go to your phone, get your earpods on. Wait, what am I doing? Yeah, earpods on. Have your notepad, all this good stuff. So that is my short list. Let's see. Internet, backup hotspot, standing desk, timer, monitor, camera, enough light, headphones, AirPods, Ulla, Ember, fridge stocked with water and your favorite beverages, chair, UPSs, and have a great looking background. And that is generally I've set up for my working from home. I've done it for about 5 years. And if you have any questions on what you need to do, just let me know in the comments below, and I can absolutely help you out. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.